Hey, so anyways, you guys, we are prepping to have a special guest on, Mandy Del Rio. Again, she's the host of Indie Lounge, and she will be coming on and talking to us about her thing, what she does. I'm really looking forward to talking to her about horror and kind of where she's coming from and how she promotes people. So let's bring her on here in a minute. Mandy Del Rio, hi, this is AndroidVirus, and you've been conversing with Sean as well about coming on the show. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing all right. It's Friday.
It's Friday. We're having a fun. We're having a fun time talking. We're questioning each other about sexism and racism, which is awesome. Just awesome topic.
My favorite topics.
Yeah, sure.
Really?
Like I'm just like, is it sexist? Is it racist? Just having fun with it. So it's really awesome. So we can find you at indieloungetv.com, facebook.com /indieloungetv, twitter.com /indieloungetv. So tell us what you do.
Yeah, well, I host a monthly cable TV talk show, obviously called the Indie Lounge, and we air on several channels in New Jersey, but we also promote all of the episodes online, obviously through the social media sites that you just listed and our website. So we really broaden the audience, and basically the show is devoted to giving a forum to entertainment professionals, a vast range of entertainment professionals who are involved in independent projects. So we like to put the spotlight on these, indie artists and give them a place to showcase their work. Nice. And that's what we do. Yeah.
That's kind of what we do for this show too. We have a lot of indie filmmakers and musicians that come on from time to time. I believe we had Jack Thomas Smith, who you've worked with on Fiction.
Yep.
Great guy, and he's
awesome.
Definitely. What got your passion for entertaining, performing? What got you into it?
Oh, but I've been. It's kind of. I think I was just born with it. I've always liked to perform ever since I was little. I was dancing in front of people, singing, acting where I could. So it's just, I guess it's one of my passions. It's what I kind of like to do. So it's kind of just, I've done a lot of side projects. My brain is just so geared toward the creative side of, I don't know if that's right or left, but, so it's always been in me to do just artistic and creative stuff. And, as you develop relationships, different doors open and opportunities kind of fall into place. So, I've always been, doing, you have to do your day-to-day grind and in your day-to-day life. And,
right.
And in addition to that, you kind of chip away at what you love to do. That's sort of what I've been doing. And in doing that, I've been fortunate enough to meet people along the way who are like-minded, like Jack Thomas Smith, he's actually my boyfriend too.
I knew it. Well, I'm like, this is AndroidVirus here. I knew it because I was just like, she just wouldn't have a picture with Jack Thomas Smith on her Twitter profile picture.
Right.
I was like, I was all there.
Kind of Annie Wilkes-ish, but.
So when you say he's awesome and cool, you really mean it.
Yeah.
There you go.
I do. But, honestly, that's without being totally biased, I mean, he really is an awesome guy. He's somebody, even if I wasn't involved with, I definitely would want in my life. He's very talented. I know you guys had him on, and he had a great time on your show.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's kind of just, that's kind of how, I didn't really get into how I got started, but that's sort of, it's just in me to want to do things like this.
Yeah, I was kind of, Sean and I had when we broke into this podcast or live radio game here, it was on an independent thing, and it was more of just two guys having fun. But people started noticing and recognizing that we did something different, and because we were real, you know what I mean? We were real people, and we really we got involved, with trying to support mainstream stuff, but it was really. It's just you got to play that game, and it's kind of a cat and mouse game. And I found personally that independent artists, whether it's musicians, filmmakers, whatever the case may be, are just much more humble and cooler.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's easy to want to support that kind of underground genre because. Now with social media and with shows like mine and yours, it's just these people actually who back before all this social media started, who would get heard, you know what I mean? Other than, you could be on a local, the local cable access network, but, but it wouldn't leave your town, you know what I mean? And now it's like, that's the good thing about technology is these indie artists now kind of have a place to go, a forum for recognition, and I feel like I can definitely stand behind that.
I mean, the first medium that I think that I would say that I was exposed to as far as independence was concerned is, being a kid and going to the mom and pop video store and just perusing the horror aisle. You look at all these horror movies and you're just like, that's
the best.
Yeah, isn't it? It's like a
yes, I miss video stores.
They're making a comeback.
Yeah, they are.
I hope so. Are they? I really hope so. I will take that any day over Netflix.
That's that new. You know how it goes. It's that 20 years ago is cool again mentality.
Yeah, that's true.
Brought back in. They're like, hey, we're going to have video stores, sell 8-tracks and tapes, and it's going to be great, man. And people are like, yes, sign me up.
Yeah. Hey, sign me up. I would love it. I would love it. It's like I go on Netflix and I've got this queue that's like, a year long, and I sometimes forget to update it, and I get something that I ordered that I put on the queue for my daughter like 3 years ago. And it's like I'm kind of over wanting to see Born Free with my child, like she's on to like Rob Zombie now, and it's like you got to be like into the mood. You go to the video store, it's like, what am I in the mood for? I have no idea. And you kind of just browse the aisles and you pick up what you're in the mood for. And then with Netflix, it's like, oh yeah, I was into this like last week and now I kind of don't care,
Yeah.
There's a really cool website I found, and I should try to get those guys on sometime. It's called Psychotronic Netflix, and they have a Facebook page as well, and they just seem to update at least once a week of all the cool happenings. As far as I'm concerned, on Netflix, the comings and goings. Obviously, they list the new stuff and the stuff that's leaving, and the stuff that's coming. But I really enjoy, their horror stuff that they put on there. Hey, this week, Frogs, starring Sam Neill, is going to be on. Or not Sam Neill, Sam Elliott from 1974. I'm like, oh, great! I want to watch Frogs. I want to watch the Incredible.
Totally.
Yeah, the Incredible Melting Man is going to be on. Great.
Right. That's really cool. I'm gonna check. I know exactly. That's the important stuff.
Yeah. So,
speaking of those, do you have a specific genre or favorite type of movie that you'll always go back to? You can watch a million times.
Oh man, there's so many. Yeah, no, it's hard to. I think a lot of my favorites happen to fall in the horror category. I wouldn't specifically say that's my favorite because I'm such a film geek. I love so many different types of films. So, there's movies you can watch over and over again, and a lot of mine are horror, like American Werewolf in London. I think I could watch that movie just every day. and same with Fright Night and The Thing. I mean, I've got some go-to. I think I've seen Fright Night. I have the whole entire movie like in my brain at this point.
Right. I do too.
Yeah, do you? Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my
Are
God!
you guys,
like,
is it horror for you?
Oh, I love me, AndroidVirus. Yeah, horror. I'm the horror guy. We actually on the AndroidVirus and Sean show. We have Blog Talk Radio Network, and so we have 2 hours a day to put on whatever you want. We run our shows on Friday nights, but every other and we're going to be introducing another show coming onto our network pretty soon here. Every other Wednesday night, I do a horror podcast.
Sweet.
And so. Yeah, I do it with my buddy Xander Kane at Xander_Kane, and we
I know
watch.
that name.
Do you?
I think so. Is he on Twitter?
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I know. I think I follow him. I'm not sure, but I've definitely heard that name. Yeah.
Yeah. And we watch The Worst of the Worst, which I love.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes, absolutely. And I can quote Fright Night too.
Horror?
Oh yeah, the worst of the worst horror we can find. I mean,
my daughter would love you guys. She loves bad horror movies. Like, she'll admit it. She's like, if it's bad, I want to watch it.
Yeah. Well, tell her to check us out, and she whatever the case, listen to our podcast because they're really
Okay.
What did we watch this last week, Sean? You don't remember?
The Bog. And
Bog.
Schizoid.
And Schizoid. Yeah. Just
horrendous movies.
Real bad stuff.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, going back to your Fright Night thing, I've gotten my kids to actually, I guess, kind of harass my wife with Fright Night lines. So, and you'll understand this. You'll understand this because my wife will come in and she'll be like, "What's for dinner?" And then my daughter will scream, "Dinner is in the oven!" You know, just
so we quote that too. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my God, that's so funny. That is so. Yeah, Jack does that all the time. Actually,
does he?
Yeah,
that's
that is
awesome.
So funny.
So for you, is so for you, like I'm kind of hard pressed. Like I understand they're all different movies, but like top 3 for me, 80s vampire films would have to be like obviously Fright Night, Lost Boys, and Near Dark. What about for you?
Right. Definitely. It's definitely Lost Boys and Fright Night. As far as the 80s movies, the vampire movies, but I saw, I know this is so bad. I'm going to get totally ostracized. Because Jack loves this movie. But I saw Near Dark once when I was a kid. And I haven't gone back to it. I think Fright Night just takes up all my time, I guess, but no, not really. But I don't know because to me, as far as the vampire movies go, I think that Nosferatu is one of the scariest. And that's a really old movie, and I get that, but I don't know. That movie really scared me.
The black and white one?
The original, yeah.
That's a creepy
the original.
One.
It's just so creepy, and I saw it at just the right age, and it just gave me nightmares. But yeah, Lost Boys and Fright Night are just like in my own personal, catalog of movies.
Yeah. 80s stuff for sure.
Yeah.
So,
the 80s has the most amazing horror movies.
I think we were talking to we were interviewing a band called The Fever, and we were the guitar player for The Fever. His name is Toit. Hi Toit, if you're listening. But Toit brought up a really awesome point. He felt that everything was good in the 80s, from music to movies, because everything was pretty much original. I don't know how you feel about that, though.
I'm a very classic person. Like, as far I go. Honestly, there were some great. My movie time is probably more so the 70s, even though the 80s, it started getting into. I'd say the 70s and 80s for horror was great. Like, you have The Exorcist in the 70s, which I don't know. I think everyone asks what's your favorite horror, it's probably going to be it because it's such a well-made movie and, it's a classic. No, for me, it's even before that. I'm a big, as far as music goes, I'm a big Stones fan. I'm a big classic rock fan. The Beatles, Van Morrison. I go back I even go back to like Motown and soul music. My music history, it goes pretty far back. So I'm really weird about bold statements. And I don't know if it's because my brain is just all over the place. But, you know what I mean? It's so hard for me to be like definitive, like this is the one time, this is the one movie. I so have a hard time with that, But I wouldn't argue that there weren't some great things going on in the 80s.
Yeah, when people question me about they're like, well, they'll see that I'm a horror guy or whatever, or what's your favorite horror movie? And I'm like, well, that's a loaded question, I can maybe whittle it down to my top 3, maybe, if that.
Right. Yeah, I know. I'm the same exact way. Where it's funny, like Jack, he has his favorite horror movie is Dawn of the Dead, the original. Yeah. And I'm like, I just can't nail it down. Where do I put Jaws if I put, Fright Night? You know what I'm saying? It's like, how do you put like The Thing or Invasion of the Body Snatchers in an order? I can't do it. My brain doesn't do it.
Yeah.
They all have different things that they bring to the table.
Now I've been slowly trying to bring Sean into the horror fold.
Yeah. I'm not too. I am not the type that goes for horror. As a matter of fact, I avoid it if I can at times.
Really?
And that's the dichotomy of this show. He's into metal and horror and stuff like that, and I'm kind of like, I'll watch the documentaries and the sappy movies and listen to more popular R&B and stuff like that, and we just mix it together, and it turns into
that is awesome.
Yeah, I think that's what makes us.
I think that's great to have that balance. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a. Well, I get to corrupt
I didn't mean to
Sean.
cut you off.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I get to corrupt Sean. Sean gets to piss me off.
I get to anger you with my choices of pop music at times, which is fun.
Yes. It literally gives me a headache.
What gives you a headache? The metal or?
No, Sean's pop
like Taylor
music.
Swift. Taylor Swift gets him into a rage,
It really upsets me.
Well, there's a lot of good documentaries. See, I'm just, you guys could talk to me on both sides about Sean's movies and Android's movies. It's I think that's really cool, especially to have the two sides. I think that's awesome.
Quick question going back to your show. I know you like to interview independent artists and whatnot. Do you guys do musicians as well?
Oh yeah, we do. We had a singer-songwriter on. Her name was Zara Phillips, and we have a bunch scheduled too. Those seem very easy to come by. It's a very common indie genre, indie music.
Right.
But we have, so many. Art is such a vast category. Like it's such a vast world. So, I like to also have artists come on the show that you normally wouldn't think of as maybe artists. Like we're having a horror novelist coming on next month named Dino Sands. We had a comedian and comedy writer. We're having his name's John DeBellis, and he wrote for SNL. That's art also, writing. We've had a children's illustrator, and tomorrow, we're not airing. We're having Jackie the Joke Man Marteling coming on. I think that's going to air next month. Yeah. So and he was mainstream, but now he's got his own thing, and he's doing independent, comedy. So art, it's just it's unlimited, pretty much. And I just like bringing people out that you won't normally see. I mean, you'll see Jackie, but it's, you know, a lot of people don't know what he's doing now, you know, and I kind of want to showcase that. Like, yeah, he's still here, guys, and he's still doing, you know, he's doing his own thing. And, you know, we just really like to showcase these little, you know, people that, not little people, but, you know what I'm saying, little, I don't know how to say it, like projects, these projects that people would normally see.
Yeah, it's about getting the word out.
Yeah, it is. And yes, yeah, and keeping people fresh and keeping, you know, promoting these projects. I think that people should know about. It's entertainment, you know.
Well, and I also wanted to say when you go to IndieLoungeTV.com, you've got your episodes. You got up to episode 5 here right now. I like the way the format is in this day and age. If you go on YouTube and there's anybody has their little show, their review show, whatever it is, it's so it's like so clean and bright and just like, you know, vibrant. This one I kind of like, whether it's intentional or not, like that feeling of like a little old school with it. You know, you got your reviewer, you've got Todd on to do the reviews. You do your interviews, and it's on a set, and it feels like this is real. This isn't like we're just pizzazzing it up all crazy to, you know. You know, I'm a huge fan of guys like, and me and Android have talked about this, like Joe Bob Briggs, the way he would have his little thing set up, and I'm a huge actual fan of like public access stuff, and unfortunately, like over here in New Mexico, they just don't have it anymore. So I think that's why when I take a look at this, it's kind of refreshing almost to say, to kind of look at this and just watch the shows. You know,
oh, thank you.
Like a raw feeling to it.
Thank you so much. That is a complete compliment to me, because that's what I like too, and I'm really glad that we're conveying that. Yeah, we've had people say your show is so vintage. It feels so authentic, and that's exactly what I want. You know, and I'm just we are all about just being real, and I just I don't know how well I fit into this time period of technology and everybody, you know, everything's fast and flashy, and I just think, you know, I mean, it doesn't have to be, I don't know, I don't know what I'm saying, but I don't fit in too well with this new age stuff, you know. I'm so old school.
You're an analog girl.
Yeah.
The digital world. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it serves its purpose. I mean, I know for us, I mean, we wouldn't be able to do what we do, like you said, without social media or even, you know, all the stuff that, you know, that we do. But, you know, I'm all for you know, spreading the word on independent things, you know, people trying to get their stuff off the ground. We interviewed one of our first interviews was Josh Zeman, the guy who made that documentary Cropsy. And
okay.
I don't know if you've seen that one yet.
No, I've heard of it though. That's very cool.
It's pretty he's out in your neck of the woods. You may want to find him on Twitter or whatever. But
okay,
the documentary Cropsy for me was pretty. It kind of scarred my soul a bit. Like I'll never. It was pretty rough. Then he put out another one called Killer Legends, and you just see, like, you know, you have setbacks. I mean, I know the guy was really trying to get a show like on Chiller TV or the Sci-Fi Channel based off his ideas. And he would have been perfect for it, but for whatever reason, they didn't pick it up, you know. You know, so he's still out making his documentaries and doing his things and his thing and not stopping. So it's
that's very cool.
Yeah, I like. He's a nice guy too. He was really nice to come on, and we did like a full almost 2.5 hours with the guy. I mean, it was amazing.
Wow.
Just to talk about urban legends and just weird things like that. So I thought it was really cool. Do you also have like ghost people on and stuff like that, paranormal stuff?
I mean, we haven't yet. No, we haven't. I'm not sure how that would fit into the format. But like I always tell, like every interview I do, we always take submissions. So, if anybody wants to submit press release or information, we'll definitely look it over and see where if we can fit it in. Because it's a monthly show, but we've gone from half an hour to an hour, and it does air a couple times a week. So we're trying to hopefully fit more people into the hour. That's the initial goal,
Yeah.
Excellent.
Sean has a paranormal question for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of one of our signature things that we do. It's we talk about ghosts and stuff from time to time. So we always ask anybody we interview, has there ever been an experience, have you ever experienced anything with paranormal, whether it be you saw something, it could be alien, it could be ghostly? Have you ever experienced anything like that? And if so, what was it?
Well, I'm a skeptic, just first of all, flat out. I'm a total skeptic when it comes to this stuff. But I did have an experience, and I don't want to sound, out there.
Right.
But when I was a teenager, my boyfriend at the time and I stayed at this cabin in Oregon, and in the middle of the night, I woke up, like half awake, and I saw a woman standing in our room with curlers in her hair and a night robe. And I almost went to ask her what she's doing in our room, and she faded into the background. So I thought, okay, I was dreaming. I obviously wasn't fully awake, and it was just a dream because, again, I'm a skeptic. And we woke up the next morning, and we started to pack up and leave, and he said, I don't want to sound crazy, but did you happen to see a woman in our room with curlers and in a nightgown? I'm not kidding. This seriously happened. And he was a hardcore atheist. It was like no non-believer, just no, there's no way in hell that could happen ever. And I said, oh my God, I did. And I'm like, what? We were both kind of like, what? And he freaked out and he said, oh, okay, somebody was in our. He tried to make all these reasons why there was a woman in our room. He said they must have shot a projector in our room in the middle of the night, and I'm like, we're in the middle of the woods. Why would Steven Spielberg be out here projecting like poltergeist images into our room? So that was weird. And then he was like, we're never going to talk about this again. And I said, that's fine. It was like two skeptics just saying, yeah, no, we're never going to talk about it again. Wow. And I still don't, to this day, I will not admit, seeing a ghost. But that was my one quote-unquote paranormal experience, I guess.
Encounter.
It's not normal. It's definitely not normal.
No, yeah. I mean, I honestly, it was kind of like, I want to prove this wrong. I want to prove it. We just, there was no way we could prove it,
Unless just some lady wandered in the cabin from the woods and some, I don't know.
Then disappeared into the wall.
Exactly.
Happens,
Very odd. That's a good one. That is a good one.
Into the wall. Yeah, it's kind of chilling.
Yeah, I mean, and I think what kind of draws me and Sean together, as far as our show is concerned, we kind of meet in the middle, is we both have had numerous paranormal experiences.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely. Yes. Now, I always say it's not, I mean, and plus we were in New Mexico, so you see weird can I cuss on the show, Sean? Are you okay with that? You see weird shit in the sky, but it's just weird. It's just a weird state. But it's almost like I attribute it to tattoos, right? They're not for everybody. I would never pressure anybody to getting a tattoo, but it's a personal thing. So if somebody, I would never tell somebody ghosts are real, or spirits are real, or this is real, or this is real. I don't think until you've personally experienced it, it's real for you. or
right.
real for me or real for Sean or whatever the case may be. But definitely odd and unexplainable.
I agree.
Oh, quick question before we let you go, okay? Because we're going to wrap up the interview here in a minute.
Okay.
Last week, or was it the week before, Sean and I, and this is going to take you back to Fright Night, Sean and I had a list of movies, okay? And it's more of a kind of a funny thing and to get you to chuckle. We had a list of movies that were completely inappropriate for the 80s. And how is it inappropriate, Sean?
It was like movies that just wouldn't be made today, like those teenage high school sex romp type movies, like Porky's, and things like that.
Yeah.
Just completely inappropriate movies that that just would not be greenlit today. Or if they were, they'd be something like American Pie 6. Where it's just straight to Netflix or the Red Box or something like that.
And now we bring up Fright Night because Jerry Dandridge was like maybe a 700-year-old vampire, and here he is seducing maybe a 16-year-old.
It's very true. Yeah, and it's funny because you don't think it that way. You don't think of it that way, but that's very true. I mean, that's whoa.
And takes it all the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you would not see that on TV. It's got to be like,
no.
Like I'm sorry, the shitty Fright Night remake. Like it's got to be like his mother.
I didn't even see it. Yeah. I didn't see it.
Yeah. So take the Fright Night remake, and instead of him seducing, Charlie's girlfriend, he's seducing Charlie's mom.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't hold on. It's funny. Isn't that weird? I've thought about that too. It's just such a different time period. Like you wouldn't. I think I tried watching even Heathers with my daughter. I'm like, when I was your age, I loved Heathers, and we started watching it, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, never mind. This just does not. I don't want your baby ears to hear this. Like, it was just so bizarre.
Right.
It's a different time period, like, yeah, and like Fast Times. Look at Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I don't know if they, like you said, unless it's like American Pie, it's like straight to video. I mean, American Pie was gross on a different level. I mean, Fast Times is such a better movie overall, like hands down. But it's just so different. Yeah, it's bizarre. Yeah.
Funny you say that. Fast Times was another one on our list.
Yes, it was.
Oh, yeah.
And that and Weird Science, too, as well.
Oh, God,
so.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny, Sean, as a matter of fact, Weird Science was on cable, and my wife was watching it, and I have 9-year-old twin sons, and I'm thinking,
cute.
and I'm thinking, you guys can watch this, and it's not bad. I watched it. I rented that movie when I was 8 years old. I remember from the video store.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, this is pretty rough.
Right? I know. These kids now, it's such a different time here. I mean, I'm glad that I was allowed to watch like way worse with my family, but I mean, because there were I have 4 brothers, so when I was 6, I was watching movies that I would never have let Luna watch, and it took me for her to watch The Walking Dead, because that is one of my all-time favorite shows, and that's one of hers and Jack's daughters as well. Luna she was on Jack's movie set, Infliction, and she saw the behind the scenes and kind of how things were made and how blood and it helped her grasp that it wasn't real, and it helped me grasp as a parent, okay, now I can maybe slowly expose her to The Walking Dead, because she's like a horror nut. But yeah, even Walking Dead, I'm like, she's not watching this until she can handle it. What a different time period. completely.
Definitely. Even the 70s, like my 15-year-old daughter, and I'd actually told this story on the horror podcast, but I could tell her. I may have even told it on this show before. I have a 15-year-old daughter who likes horror movies and different stuff like that as well. And she's really into The Walking Dead. And I have, I don't know how familiar you are with it, but where I record from my recording space, I have a huge poster of Lucio Fulci's Zombie from 1978.
Oh, yeah, we just watched that recently, actually.
Yeah, that's my favorite zombie movie, by the way. And she had actually caught it on TV because Robert Rodriguez has the El Rey network now. I don't know if you guys have seen that yet.
No.
I don't know if you guys have DirecTV or whatever cable, but Robert Rodriguez just came out with his own network called El Rey, and he plays nothing but grindhouse movies, old kung fu movies. Anyways, he had an afternoon of Lucio Fulci films, and
oh wow,
yeah, and so my daughter caught Zombie like on a Saturday afternoon, and the cool thing about having your own network is you can play stuff uncut if you really want, even if it's on cable. And he played Zombie uncut. He played that movie uncut.
Oh, wow.
So my daughter approaches me, and she tells me, how old were you as the first time you saw that movie Zombie? And I said, honestly, I didn't see it until like in my 20s. You know, I just never saw it. But when I saw it, I fell in love with it. And she goes, that movie made me feel kind of gross. I was like, okay. And I'm like, you watched The Walking Dead. That's your favorite show. You're just telling me, like, we just finished this last season finale. And she goes, this is different. And I'm like, how is it different? She goes, I don't know what it is. It's just different.
That's funny.
It just made me feel weird. And I was just like, there you have it.
I can see that, though. Yeah. I can see that. You know, there's such a different feel of those movies, too, you know?
They did their jobs.
They really did. They were so gritty and, like, almost, like, so real, you know what I mean? It's like I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre again for the first time since being a kid. I know that's another. That movie scared me so much and made me feel so like just terrified when I was a kid that I'm like, I'm kind of done with that movie. So watching it again recently, and I watched it with my daughter, it was like, God, this is way worse than The Walking Dead. You know, it's like, I don't know. It's so, there was such a real raw feel to, you know, the pre-CGI days, you know?
Well, yeah. The like The Walking Dead, you know, you always see like they just stab somebody in the head with a knife and just those huge CGI splatters of blood. And then you think back that to Texas, where like when he hits that dude in the head and then his legs are just shaking, and you're like, wow, that's pretty.
Yeah. That
looks pretty real.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Oh man. Yeah, the violence in that movie, it was like, God, that had to have hurt somehow, somewhere, that person. It was just too authentic. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
the surrealness.
Yeah. 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 There's just, you know, something to be said for me personally about CGI. I'm just not big on it. You know, it takes me out. With the exception of The Walking Dead, I think they use it very well. I think they mix it up, and I think that show is so story driven and it has so much character development. To me, it even doesn't need all the gore at all. But they use it right. So it just, to me overall, that is just an amazing show. But other than The Walking Dead, it's just as soon as I know something's CGI'd and I can tell, it's like I'm kind of out of it, you know?
Yeah.
I think
I don't know if
CGI
you guys feel
has.
the same.
I think, I do feel the same. I think CGI has its place. I think it can be overly done, and I think, you know, like I heard a really good argument, like, oh, you know, why can't they make movies like The Thing again, where they use no CGI? And it's like, okay, that is true to a point. Everything was practical in practical effects in the original Thing, or you know, in Carpenter's Thing, and you know, but what a lot of people don't realize is they did have to go back in and kind of remove some of the wiring work post-production for those massive effects that they did, and they had to go back in and kind of, I guess you could say, CGI, quote unquote. But I think that it can be used effectively, but I think it can also be used in such an awful way, just in your face, where it's just insulting to the viewer,
Right.
I mean, you take the new Star Wars movie coming out, right? And you think of the last 3 that came out, it was just a complete CGI crap fest. And it was like, am I watching a fucking cartoon?
I could not agree with you more.
And then so in this new one that they're putting out, I was watching an interview with the guy who made it, J.J. Abrams, and he's like, okay, this new robot, his name is BB-10 or something like that they have out. He brought it out on stage, and it's really a functioning little robot that they use it to move with magnets and stuff. And he's like, I really wanted my actors to react to this. This is something they can touch and feel.
That is cool. Yes.
So I'm like, yeah.
That doesn't surprise me, because based on, that trailer, oh my God, that trailer is, can I just say, badass? Like that, everyone's talking about the trailer. The trailer is cool, and I'm such a diehard fan of Star Wars and Empire that when the last 3 came out, I don't like talking about the last 3.
I think we've skewered it enough here on this show. Yeah, they were awful.
I know, right? Right. So this one, though, after watching the trailer, Jack and I were talking about it, and this one, it's like, okay, are we coming back to some authenticity? Is J.J. Abrams going to kind of bring it back? And I hope so. So you saying that, I had no idea. But that's kind of a light at the end of the tunnel there. And I'll try to maybe send you a tweet on the little thing that I saw that he actually brought this little robot on stage. Yeah, cool. Thank you.
It was really cool. So we can find you again at indieloungetv.com. You have it's a show, you do it once a month.
We shoot once. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, for an hour long, right?
Yes. It's an hour long on. It is an hour long and on one of the channels, and then the other one is still going to be 30 minutes on 4 of the other channels. But it's now an hour long, and online it's an hour long. I know it gets kind of complicated, but some people need a half an hour format. Some people are fine with the hour, like as far as channels. But we're promoting it online. It will be the hour show.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Facebook.com/Indie Lounge, Twitter.com/Indie Lounge TV. I'm sorry, Facebook.com/Indie Lounge TV. And we can also follow you at Mandy at Fox Trail, or Mandy Fox Trail, right? At Mandy at
Mandy
Fox
Trail. Mandy at Fox Trail.
Yes, awesome.
Excellent.
Mandy at Fox Trail. To really confuse everyone. It's
now,
Mandy
at Fox Trail.
I don't know what I was thinking. I'm so bad at technology.
It's and we have and if we have people that maybe possibly we know a lot of artists, musicians. Maybe we'll if you guys can work it out, we'll send them your way as well.
That'd be great. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Anything else you want to say?
Oh, yeah. Let me just quick plug for our film reviewer, Todd Staruch. He's also a horror blogger, and his name is The Horror Nerd, and he's at www.horrornerd.net. And I think, and we mentioned, I like to plug my boyfriend's Film Infliction wherever I, do an interview, and that's it. Oh, also, you know what? We have a production company, film and video production company as well. And if anyone's looking for music videos, commercials, things like that, they can go to foxtrailproductions.com.
Awesome. And I'm glad to hear that your buddy is the one and only horror nerd.
Oh, yeah? Do you guys, know him off of Twitter?
I don't, but I...
Yeah. He is the one and only horror nerd.
Well, there was a horror nerd that they called themselves on Facebook, and maybe just my I don't know, but maybe I'm throwing myself under the bus here, but maybe just my uppity horror persona ways was like, you're not a horror nerd. Every movie you're posting is like movies post 2000, right? And then, so like I started questioning this female, saying, so what did I say? I said, what is your favorite Dario Argento film? Who? I'm like, you're not a horror nerd.
Oh, right, yeah. That's you are a poser horror nerd.
Exactly. Tell me, what was your favorite, like, like, I'm watching, this is what she did that really pissed me off. I'm having a wonderful afternoon watching I'm watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street, and then she put all of her DVDs up, like, I took a selfie with them, and they were all the remakes.
Yeah, I knew where this was going.
I was like,
yeah,
God
not
damn
so
it.
good.
Yeah. You are not the horror nerd. So I'm glad, like I said, there's only one true horror nerd, and that's your buddy. So.
Yes, that's right. Check him out. Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, we'll retweet you. Awesome interview. Thank you so much for coming on again, Mandy.
Cool. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much. I had a great time.
Yeah, and we hope to see you again soon.
Yes, me too. And I'll definitely tweet you guys and promote you guys. And if you guys have anything coming up, just, at me or at the Indie Lounge, and we'll just retweet. So.
You got it.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Wonderful evening, man.
You too. All right.
Good night.
Bye-bye.